Hello everyone, welcome to the SME Business Academy's interviews. My name's John Covey. I'm a multi-award winning business coach, sales trainer and speaker. The SME business interviews are here to give you practical advice for your business, whether you're small, just starting up or growing. Today we are here with the VP of Product, Reuven, for Wix.com. So by now, I'm sure every single person in the world's heard of Wix, surely. So Wix is a cloud-based web development platform, but rather than me telling you all about this, I'm going to hand you over to Reuven. Tell us a little bit about Wix, please.
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. Wix was founded approximately 10 years ago, and where our goal was initially, the founding team had another startup in mind. And as they were throwing around multiple ideas for startup, they realized that one of the first things a business needs, a startup needs, is a website. And unfortunately, at the time, it wasn't easy enough to create a website to have any kind of online presence. And one thing led to another, and they decided to pivot their idea and to move on to do a business, a platform for taking your business or your hobby or whatever it is you want to take online and have your very own online presence, the most stunning one and the most easiest manner. Today, it's 10 years later and over 93 million users.
93 million users, public company, trading on the NASDAQ.
That's correct.
So, I mean, what a journey, 10 years.
Yeah, very exciting. I was part of the team as an advisor since the third year approximately, 2008, and I joined full time in 2013.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So what was the original concept? What was the original business?
So there are many myths around that, and the most important part of the myth is that I'd say, and that's the true part, is not about what the business was, but how they came about it. And that was that Gig and Avishai, two of our founders, they were spending some time on the Tel Aviv seashore, which is right outside my window, which I'll just show you for a second. It's hard to see due to the sun, but they were spending some time on one of the seashores very near our offices today. And they came up with multiple great ideas. And when the time came to actually do what Wix is today, then Nadav, Avishai's younger brother, joined the two of them, and that's where they moved on to their build your own website. That's correct.
Wonderful. So you've been with them. So you said from 3 years.
Now I've been on the advisory board since late 2008 and joined as a VP product in January 2013.
Excellent, good stuff. And I suppose you've seen some massive change in that time, not only in technology, but in terms of audience and needs.
So it's very interesting. Initially, our goal, many times when businesses start, then they say the most important question is, who are your users? And the second most important question is, what would they pay for? Now, in a way, that's not the two questions we ask. Our two questions are usually, you can actually see them right here behind me, what are the users trying to achieve? And the second one is, what do they know to do? Right? And that's what we're most interested in. In a way, since these are the two guiding questions for us, we don't see too many shifts in that, because it's whether our customer is a small restaurant that wants to take online orders, or whether our customer is a person that has an antique car collection that wants to present it. They both want the same thing. They want to have a stunning online presence. They want to be able to control their own destiny and do it easily. And they want to manage as much as the interactions directly from one platform. And that's what we're always aiming to do, to be whatever it is you need in your online presence to create, manage, and grow your online presence. You'll find it all at Wix.
I remember going back, and this is going back, I imagine probably close to 10 years. So it must have been in the infancy. Wix was one of the very first platforms I used to build one of my first websites. And it was incredibly simple then. I mean, now the technology that you've got is just remarkable.
Right. So yeah, I've been in the business of editors of all kinds of in publishing for too many years to remember. And when I met the founders, Gig and Avishai, for the first time, and I saw what they did with using Flash to build editor for Flash, I was blown. Because I've been dealing with those technologies myself. I said, wow, I love it. It's so fun to use it. And you saw that people were creating websites for the fun.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Whatever you do and you enjoy doing, you usually come back to doing more and more.
Definitely.
And you get engaged and like it.
How did you go about the issues later on in the development? With Flash, where more and more issues started to pop up, especially with the Apple products.
Right. So that was an easy decision eventually, because Steve Jobs made the decision for us. He decided that Flash will not go on iPhones, and practically at the time iPhones were the only true mobile platform. We realized we have to shift, and within it was, I think, early 2012, we started a shift to build a full-blown editor in HTML5 for HTML5 websites.
Yeah.
And within approximately, I think it was 6 to 8 months, we had it launched. At the time, of course, we still have, we didn't shift all of our Flash users. It wasn't a forced shift. We offered a totally new editor, totally new experience, and people loved it and embraced it very, very quickly.
Good. That's brilliant. Wonderful. So for everyone that's watching, as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can find out more wonderful news and stories and advice from great people like Reuven at Wix. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to jump into some of these questions for you. So the first one is 10 years on. If you had to go back to day one, what would you do different, if anything?
So probably anyone who's been an entrepreneur and in any kind of startup that succeeded to any measure, you don't know to do things differently. So we would probably do the same. We have a very specific philosophy. We want to do great products that offer true value to users.
Right.
Now, you don't always know from the first day. So you experiment and you listen to your customers and you talk to them. Another of the points that I always have written on my whiteboard in the back. Talk to your customers. Don't survey. Don't do these focus groups. Talk to them. Listen to them. Hear what they want. And based on that and your internal knowledge and things you've studied, experiment and improve. So probably we wouldn't have done anything different.
Right. Okay. Good. That's nice to know.
But you never know.
You never know.
Hindsight is very, very useful, but that's why they call it hindsight.
Yeah, absolutely. So the second question is then, how did you know what features to develop or to take away?
So once we realized as a company that what we wanted to do is create and manage your online presence effectively. At the time, that meant building a website. We had this platform technology of building online presence using Flash. We targeted it at, I'd say, 6 different solutions. One of them was building websites. Another one, by the way, if you remember, MySpace. It was for building MySpace presence.
Right.
And we experimented, and we saw the ones that floated that were better with evolution. And we realized that the way to go was building your own website was the way to go.
Yeah.
And the way we do this today is the same way. We have a concept, we experiment, we try it out, we first, bounce it around and let our customers test it, and the best the features win.
Yeah, wonderful. I forget where I read this, but I read it once and I forget which company it was as well, to be honest with you, but what they said is they build loads and loads and loads of products, and then they start taking them away. And then when the people in the audience scream and say, whoa, we need that, they realise what they need to start developing further.
So that's one approach. Usually we try not to go to this approach. I don't remember who it was that said it, that you reach excellence not by adding more and more functionality, but by removing. And I prefer removing before our customers suffer.
Yes.
So I don't want them to get in love with things that aren't necessarily useful. So we try to weed out the less successful ideas as early as possible. Of course, sometimes we fail. and we put out features that aren't the best for our customers, they don't really need them.
Okay.
If they don't need them, then they'll be hidden, tucked away. But
Sure.
our focus is on always to see what improves life for our customers, what can help them bring more business, more
Totally.
traffic, more success.
And,
That's what we try to put in.
and I suppose it comes back to the two questions on the whiteboard that you've got behind you again, which is what are they trying to do and what is it that they're doing already? So what a fantastic concept to think about that.
Exactly.
Next one. How did you deal with competition?
So this is I'd say my fourth startup or company that I've been involved in from infancy, and the focus was always focus about yourself and your customers. Know what your customers want to do, what they know to do your best to deliver to them, and if you do that successfully, success will come.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way, if you do it the right way. That's about it, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, how much competition was in that space at that time when you guys were just in that startup?
Well, initially, in the space in general of building or getting your website out there, then initially we started, of course, the competition part of it was hand coding your websites and TCP/IP and FTP and everything to some IIS or Apache server, and that was one scale of things. And on the other side of things, then nothing was as simple as what we had. So in that aspect, it wasn't serious competition. And along the road, companies try to do similar products. Usually they fail either on they're very simple, but they offer very little, or they offer a lot. And as a result, they're very complex. And we try to walk the very thin line of being just the right amount of complexity to let our users do whatever it is they want to do. Excellent. We don't want to limit what our users want to achieve.
No, that's brilliant. That's wonderful. Wonderful. So the next question is: so the company's now it's a public company trading on the open markets. Have you got any advice for a company that is considering taking it public?
So focus on your product, focus on your customers, and that's about it. Sometimes for financial reasons, the right thing is to go public. Sometimes the right thing is to stay private, or VCs. It differs from. It's also a personality thing. What's right for your type of business? What's right for your type of company?
Yeah.
The company, it changes. So if a company wants to go public, the first thing to do though is you need to have a good product and a good relationship with your customers. And another thing that as a culture, and it's less to do with officially with our product, though I'd say has a lot to do with product culture, is a lot of transparency. I'll turn around the monitor for a second, and you can see, except for Rona, you can see that our walls are all from glass.
All glass, yeah.
Now, this comes to reflect a very important part of our philosophy, and that's transparency. The reason I'm connecting this about going public is that many times companies go public. If you look 10, 15 years back with all of the crises in the financial markets, it all starts from a culture of secrecy.
Yeah.
If you have a culture of transparency where any piece of information that you're allowed to share is public, at least internally within the company, and you have nothing to hide, it'll make your life going public so much easier.
Yeah, sure. Get that. Make it, yeah. Good.
Of course, it also makes your product better because if all 1,300 employees know every aspect of your business plan and your product plan and how they interact with each other, so even if I'm working on some server-side code, I know the implications at the end of the day on the aspect of and the stability of the restaurant's owner site and their ability to accept online ordering 24/7.
Yeah.
So this transparency culture is something very important for our product culture, but of course, this also impacts your ability, in our opinion, to go public in a successful manner.
Excellent. Well, ties in quite nicely with the next question, which is, when did you know? When did you know that this is something that's gonna blow up? This is gonna go crazy. When did you know?
So I don't remember the exact date, but this is something you'll see with all interviews with the management team. There was that day when we realized we do not have to try to bring in more venture capital.
Yeah.
We knew we have a business model. By the way we chose initially our business model was we put out a free product. We were one of the first, if not the first, successful company with a freemium model, where you offer a great product for free, and for certain features,
You pay.
certain functionality, you start charging, and we didn't know what functionality we'd be charging for initially. And then our customers said, it would be great if you would add this feature, we'd be willing to pay.
Yeah.
Once we realized we have enough of those, and actually customers started paying without us initiating this process, and we realized that we have a business model that sponsors or can accommodate the paychecks of all existing employees, and we knew we could grow without bringing any more venture capital. That was the day we realized now we have something that's working.
Excellent.
That was a very exciting moment.
I can imagine. I bet it was. So in total, I did look actually. Was it about 120 million in VC you'd had so far?
I don't remember the exact number, but it's public information. I'm sure it's all out there.
Sure.
I think 120 million was the number at the IPO. That's the number of the public stock.
Oh, right. Okay. Crazy.
So there was VC money before that, but I'm sure it's all public.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So coming back to products itself then, in terms of what you're doing, what do you think's next? What's the big turning point in the web world at the moment?
So I'd say, first of all, there's the issue of multiple screen sizes, okay? So we're now talking off a 13-inch MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Behind me, you can see we're part of a very large screen, and there are larger and larger screens, and then you have your smartphones, right? And you have your watches. So on one hand, you want to cater as easily as possible to multiple screen sizes, and you don't want your customers to worry about that. And of course, the other thing, and you see that more and more in any kind of technology, is artificial intelligence or artificial assisted intelligence. You see it in bots, you see it in autonomous cars, and you see it recently with Wix, when in last June, we launched ADI, Artificial Design Intelligence, where we took all of our customers' experience, all of the Wix experience, and we aggregated that into one offering that allows customers without any knowledge of building websites and online presence to easily create an amazing, stunning website. And we see that in general as a trend that will follow more and more.
Yeah, well, that's good. When do you see that becoming like really kind of full circle, when it becomes the norm, I suppose?
So I wouldn't know if it will ever control the whole world for a very simple reason. Today you can easily buy, a table for your living room, and yet more and more people prefer, and they're very cheap to get and very robust, and yet many people prefer to go to the local IKEA and buy a living room table and put it together themselves. And it even went into behavioral psychology as the IKEA effect, where people fall in love with the things they build themselves. So there will always be this mix where certain things you'll want to do yourself, certain things you'll want someone to do for you, preferably the computer to do for you. So we see this as a mix and as a complementary offering. Hence, our ADI offering is tightly integrated into our workflow, where you can start with the Wix ADI, build an amazing website, and whenever you want, you continue into our full-fledged editor, and you can customize themes and fine-tune themes in your own way. Because usually, one of the things that the customers really want is as much control as possible. Control does not mean you do things yourself. Control means you have the option to do things. Right. So we want to offer our customers the best of both worlds, which we're succeeding to with our current offering, and we'll continue to improve on it.
Excellent. That's wonderful. So over the 10 years, there's been a lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs. What's been one of the biggest problems?
So the one we referred to earlier was with the move from Flash to HTML5 was a very big challenge. And again, the whole team, we said, doesn't matter what your skill set is, doesn't matter what your official role within the company is, how can you personally impact our shortest time to market with the HTML5 editor? It was an amazing time where the whole team, at the time, like I said, I was on the advisory board still, I didn't join, but I visited a number of times to see what our friends are doing. It was an amazing vibe here. There's always an amazing vibe at Wix, but that was a time where 24/7, all employees doing the same thing almost, and that's how do we move from Flash to HTML5. And the other challenge is one that we're still living every day, and that is a very rapidly growing company. Today we have over 1,300 employees in 7 or 8 offices worldwide, and it's a challenge, first of all, that we chose because being a local company, no matter how much talent is there around you, there's a limit to your growth. So we wanted to grow globally with offices worldwide, which allows us to recruit globally. And now that we're growing every day with more and more employees, none of us had the experience of managing such a large company in our previous careers. Right. So most of us are every day learning how to deal with these new challenges, and effectively a day that we didn't learn a new or didn't deal with a new challenge is a boring day for us.
I can imagine it is. So equally, what's been one of the biggest things that's been the most helpful to you? So do you know, is it having outsourced services, PR companies, sales teams, coach and mentors? What would you say has been like a real big something that's offered a lot of help?
So I'd say it's a state of mind that started from the founders and continues to date everywhere with whenever we educate new employees. And that is, no matter how smart you are, you will meet the person that is smarter than you. No matter how nice you are, you'll meet the person that's nicer than you. No matter how fun you are, there's a person out there who's more fun than you. Yeah. And that's the way we've worked from day one. I told you I've been on the advisory board for a couple of years, and that's because when we met earlier, they said, wow, you know certain things. Let's keep, this relationship going. And, these guys, they're much smarter than me, and yet they felt I have something to contribute. They brought me in, and that's the way we're doing it every day here. We bring in smarter people, nicer people. That's a great way to scale, and you learn. Sometimes you outsource, sometimes you do in-house. Whatever is core to us, we believe in doing in-house.
Yeah. What's the saying that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room?
That's probably a very smart saying, yeah.
So
at Wix, that doesn't happen a lot.
No. So for anybody that's thinking about starting up right now in business, is there any kind of real practical advice that you'd share with them? What should they focus on? What should they do first?
So it's about selecting your team and selecting your product. Selecting your team is, just like you said, smarter, nicer, and fun to have dinner with or whatever. You want them to be with a smile on their face. So, because you'll be spending probably more hours with them than with anyone else, family or friends. And selecting your product or your customers, it doesn't matter what you really start out with. You realize that there's a good chance you'll be needing to change it along the way. Yeah. So always be keeping an open communication channel with your customers and hear what they want, hear what they think of what you're offering them, and realize it's not necessarily doing what they ask for. Many times, what they'll be asking for is not what you need to give them. The famous Henry Ford quote, right? If I'd ask my customers what they wanted, they'd say faster horses. So you listen to them, you need to know what they want, and then you need to do what they need.
Yeah.
Challenge, but if you have a good team and good customers, you'll have a good business.
Yeah. Okay, so question, do you read at all on a personal level?
Yeah. That's actually, I list that as one of my hobbies.
Right, okay. Yeah. The reason
was that a yes/no question?
No. The reason I ask it, I think it's something that I've found that the people that do incredibly well tend to read a lot compared to people that don't read.
So what's your statistics so far?
The statistics is it's accurate. Yeah, every single person I've spoken to so far that reads tends to do better than people that's not an avid reader. So it's an incredible.
Okay. So yeah, I love reading. For recreation, I love reading fantasy and science fiction, and to some extent thrillers. And business-wise, I should say, I'm not in the business. I'm not in the genre of management books. I think many times these are people who have great careers, a lot to learn from, but they can summarize everything probably in a 15-minute interview tops.
Yeah.
I hope you'll edit this down to be shorter. But then they, instead of spilling it out in like 10 pages, they do a 300-page book. One of the books that we actually like and recommend to many people is Rework.
Okay.
The reason I like it is because every idea they have, they usually put into no more than 2 pages. Okay?
Wow.
So
Okay.
they realize that it can be short, and it's short. So I recommend this to all our product people. I actually have a stock of these books, and all our product people get this book when they join.
Excellent.
So people who don't take, if you're writing a business book, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't do it too thick of a book. Short and to the matter. Short and to the point.
Oh, brilliant. So when just coming back then to the early days, when you started to target your audience, did you decide to just stick local first, or did you just say, listen, we're open for everybody?
So one of the first decisions as a company that was done is, no, we're going global from day one. And continuing with that model to date, we're selling in over 190 countries. So I think that's virtually all countries in the world, except those that, due to UN decisions, you cannot sell there.
You cannot. Okay. So, I mean, what advice would you have for someone that's considering taking their brand on a global level?
Being global from day one.
Being global, yeah.
You want to support languages, you want to support locales, you want to support payment methods, you want to support content that is localized. You don't have to do everything from day one, but you have to, that has to be your vision from day one.
Yeah.
Then you can keep it, one step at a time, as long as you know where you're going from day one.
Fantastic, that's good. And then the final question then, what just ties into that is, how important do you feel that the brand as a whole is, and do you consider the brand being part of the success?
So I couldn't attribute more importance to brand than I can't. It's one of the most important things. Of course, you have to have a great product, but one of the things we're very proud of at Wix is that we have a world-class, amazing marketing team, where one of the most important goals is to make Wix as a very, 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 very strong brand and a very clear branding effort. Again, this goes hand in hand with our product, and we set similar values to the branding efforts and to the product efforts, to talk to our customers face level and to bring them true value with everything we do. And we build similar marketing campaigns around same values that we use in product, we use in our branding efforts. I'm sorry, no, this is so funny. If you could hand this over. You see, one of my books from my library disappeared, and finally someone brought it back to me. So talking about reading, right?
About reading, yeah.
So
you could have staged it. Was that staged?
Yeah, no, actually not. But it's not a management book, and it's not a recreational. It's the C reference language, my first programming book. I come up from a programming background. So branding is very, very important to us. We're very proud of the branding work we do. And one of the things is that many times we challenge the quality of our product. Does it live up to the image we're putting out in branding? And if it doesn't, then we hold it back until it does.
It does, yeah.
Because and the way this brings to an interaction where branding and marketing pulls up the product, which pulls up the branding, etc., and it continuously improves ourselves.
Sure. What does brand mean to Wix?
So branding to Wix is realizing what kind of a product it is, what kind of customers, what value do we want to bring to them, how do we position ourselves? We want to be fun. We want to be truly valuable. In the recent Super Bowl, then our marketing campaign was together with DreamWorks around Kung Fu Panda. And again, it's a global brand, of course, Kung Fu Panda, worldwide.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's powerful, it's in control, it's true value, and these same core values, that's part of what brought us together with DreamWorks, saying, wait a minute, we have something to share.
Yeah.
Recently, we started investing a lot with cooperations around sports. So we have Manchester City Football Club, and again, it's a global brand, the city brand, and sports, which is fun, brings value to many people, which allows people to be out there and be themselves and enjoy while they do so. So we do that a lot. Recently started now in the United States also with the Yankees. And like I said, product pulls the branding up, branding pulls the product up, and it's an ever-improving bootstrapping process.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Reuven, I want to thank you so much for your time and the wonderful advice and information you just shared with us right there. So that's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Guys, everybody watching this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel right here. And if you need a website, get yourself on over to somewhere up here. Get yourself on over to Wix and start building beautiful HTML5 websites now that work on everything. Reuven, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Goodbye. Have you got any top tips for anyone starting up in business or looking to grow their business?
Yeah, so starting up in business, test first. So what we teach people is in the school is to try, test, redesign, and iterate,
right?
Rather than going full pelt into production.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean production of product. That can be production of services. So that that's either or. When I say try, that means as quickly and as cheaply. I've got a big chapter on it in my book, in the channel section. As quickly and as cheaply as possible, test it with your audience, with your customers. So if you want to do a fashion range, for example, rather than producing all the product, just CAD-CAM it, or get a sample made, and then put it out to your network, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, whatever your network is, and see what reaction you get, and run a competition around it, and see if people click and like things, and then that, or if people, I teach people to get people to place orders, and so then you can, and as long as you've got somewhere that you can get things produced quickly, then take the order and then get it produced rather than the other way around.